Ethan Miller sat in a downtown coffee shop, the rich, bittersweet aroma of a caramel macchiato curling through the air, cutting through the fog of anxiety that had smothered him for weeks. At 28, he was the youngest attending cardiac surgeon at Metropolitan General Hospital, a small-town kid who had clawed his way through Johns Hopkins with grit and sleepless nights. The old saying rang in his ears, "Don't major in pre-med unless you hate yourself." It wasn't wrong. His life was a relentless grind of long shifts, endless charts, and the weight of his mother's late-stage esophageal cancer. Across the table, Isabel Vance, the 25-year-old CEO of Vance Industries, slid a 21-clause prenuptial agreement toward him. The terms were cold and clinical: a 3-year contractual marriage, $20,000 a month, a $400,000 annual bonus, no cohabitation in the same bedroom, and a litany of prohibitions: no touching, hugging, kissing, or even inappropriate thoughts about each other. Both parties were barred from extramarital affairs, flirtatious behavior, or anything resembling intimacy. A bitter laugh caught in Ethan's throat as he scanned the document. Even a stray dog, he thought, would have more self-respect than to sign this. No amount of money could buy dignity. Yet, his pen hovered over the paper, and with a single, deliberate stroke, he signed his name, Ethan Miller. The decision wasn't about pride or greed. It was about the $200,000 wired to the hospital's foundation for his mother's treatment. Late-stage esophageal cancer was a beast that devoured money, $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, it didn't matter. The experimental drugs that $200,000 could buy wouldn't guarantee a cure, but they would extend her life and ease her pain. For Ethan, that was worth everything. He wasn't chasing the role of the perfect filial son, he simply couldn't imagine a world without his mother. If you know, you know. Isabel, fresh off a brutal breakup with her ex-boyfriend Blake Harrington, who had left the country to start a business, had locked her heart in a vault and thrown away the key. In the story Ethan seemed to know by heart, as if he'd lived it before or read it in some cosmic script, he was supposed to play the loyal manservant for 3 years, catering to Isabel's every whim like a princess. Only after he left would she realize she loved him and launch a desperate, fiery pursuit to win him back. But Ethan wasn't here for that. He'd rather chew glass than follow that script. Leaving the coffee shop, Ethan didn't head back to the hospital. Instead, he walked into the salon next door, his mind racing with quick calculations. "Give me the haircut of a guy worth $20 million, he told the stylist, whose blindingly white smile turned sycophantic as he demanded a $200 deposit. Ethan emerged transformed, his shaggy hair replaced by a sharp, clean cut, his black-framed glasses swapped for a sleek new wardrobe. Back at Metropolitan General, heads turned. The nurse's unofficial rating system, a cruel but ever-present metric, shot him from a 5.9 to a 9.9, the missing tenth of a point because he was still poor. Women, he mused with a wry smile, were so superficial. They wanted a handsome man with money, but Ethan wasn't playing their game. He was playing his own. At his apartment, he ran into Dr. Chloe Evans, a colleague who'd harbored a crush on him since med school but never offered to help with his mother's medical bills, supposedly to spare his pride. In the original script, she'd chase him after his divorce from Isabel, succeeding where others failed. Ethan couldn't wrap his head around that logic but held no grudge. "What's up, Chloe?" he said, playing it cool, revealing his impending marriage to Isabel. Her face fell, piecing together that he'd sold himself for the $200,000. "It's not a crime to do what you have to for money," he told her, unapologetic. The contract's 9-figure penalty for breaking it loomed like a guillotine, and Chloe's defeated expression said she understood. She raised a hand as if to stop him, then let it fall, her courage faltering. Isabel's mansion, smaller than the ostentatious estates on TV, was a study in understated luxury, staffed by a housekeeper in her 40s and 4 younger maids, with drivers, bodyguards, and gardeners off-site. At their first dinner together, Isabel descended in conservative, unflattering pajamas, her eyes lighting up like high beams when she saw Ethan's transformed appearance. He gave a noncommittal nod, focusing on the food, rich, flavorful, better than anything he'd tasted. In the original story, he won her over with his cooking, catering to her sensitive stomach with special soups. But Ethan couldn't cook and had no intention of learning. When Isabel proposed adding a clause to the contract, increasing the penalty to 10 figures, he agreed without asking details, stunned but silent as her face hardened. "You agreed," she said, her voice like ice. He wanted to strangle her in that moment, but when he called her Mrs. Vance, a genuine smile broke through her icy facade, hinting at a decency beneath her ruthless exterior. The next morning, they secured their marriage license at City Hall. Isabel posted a photo on Instagram, deliberately taking his hand, captioned, "Happy Wedding Day, Ethan." He didn't post anything, finding it unnecessary, and walked away to the hospital, leaving her laughing softly behind him. Trouble followed quickly. A message from Blake Harrington popped up on Ethan's phone. "I know why Isabel married you. Thanks for taking care of her for me. You're a smart guy. I'll buy you a drink when I get back." Ethan's response was sharp. "Isabel has a big heart. My mom has cancer, and she wants a grandchild before it's too late. We'll have you over for a drink when you're back in town. Let's see whose round is more satisfying, pal." He screenshotted the exchange, sent it to Isabel, and tossed his phone aside, ready for a 5-hour heart valve replacement surgery. His hands moved in perfect sync with the lead surgeon, his skills matching his newfound looks. The chief of surgery clapped him on the shoulder, noting his smile and learning of his marriage. The news spread like wildfire, breaking nurses' hearts as Ethan's rating hit a perfect 10. On call that night, Ethan reviewed surgical footage, joined by Chloe, who brought pastries and juice to soothe his canker sore. They discussed technique, but her forced smile as she left betrayed her pain over his marriage. At 1 a.m., Isabel's number lit up his phone. A slurring woman informed him Isabel was wasted at a club called Noir. Ethan, hating the drama, drove to pick her up, refusing to enter the club. 3 women, including Isabel's friend Jenna, stumbled out, propping up a drunk Isabel. Jenna berated Ethan for his lack of chivalry, calling him a pathetic loser. He ignored her, easing Isabel into the car, only for her friends to pile in, distrustful. Back at the mansion, the housekeeper and maid settled Isabel, and Jenna continued her tirade, accusing Ethan of being spineless. He fired back, exposing her affair with Blake, leaving her stammering and collapsing in shock. Sophia, Isabel's only decent friend, stayed calm, urging Ethan to return to the hospital. A week later, Ethan's parents arrived in the city. He'd arranged for his mother to see Dr. Liu, a top oncologist. Chloe helped settle her in, enduring probing questions from Ethan's mother, who sensed her interest in him. Isabel's unexpected arrival in a sharp black suit stunned everyone. She greeted Ethan's parents warmly, calling them Mom and Dad, and confirmed their marriage, easing their fears that Ethan had tricked her. Driving Isabel home, Ethan sensed her deviation from the original script. In the elevator, her mask dropped, revealing exhaustion. She admitted stopping drinking after losing 2 friends and gaining a rival in Chloe, proposing another clause banning bars and clubs. Ethan, floored by her vulnerability, agreed. At the mansion, Isabel's mother, Victoria Vance, waited, exuding aristocratic poise. She commanded Ethan to pour tea, orchestrating a test where a maid poured scalding water into his cup, burning his hand. In the original story, Ethan endured it, but now he let the cup slip, splashing Victoria. When she shrieked about house rules and 2 staff members moved to slap him, Ethan incapacitated them with swift kicks. Leaning close, he whispered, "Victoria, or should I say, Sharon? It's been 25 years. Have you forgotten your own name?" Her panic confirmed he knew her secret identity. She offered millions to silence him, but he refused, knowing Isabel's hatred for deception. When Isabel descended and saw the chaos, she reprimanded her mother, who fled, promising to apologize later. Isabel's behavior continued to shift. She tossed out books on affair-proofing husbands, admitting she trusted herself but revealing her ignorance of Jenna's betrayal with Blake. Ethan warned her of a future assault by Jenna, urging her to keep the books. The plot veered further when Blake returned early, sending photos of him and Isabel in intimate settings, a restaurant, a proposal with a pink diamond. Chloe, seeing Ethan laugh at the photos, mistook his reaction for heartbreak. He clarified they were evidence to break the contract, stepping back to avoid violating its intimacy clause. Blake's return, Ethan realized, was spurred by his refusal to play the lapdog and his exposure of Blake's affair with Jenna. At the hospital, a seductive patient with feigned chest pain tried to trap Ethan in a scandal. Anticipating the setup, he ordered an immediate heart transplant, scaring her into fleeing and reporting the hospital. Isabel, confronted with trending clickbait accusing Ethan of assault, believed him over the news. She showed him her watch's recordings, proving Blake's setup, and vowed to protect him. Ethan scoffed at her jealousy over nurses and Chloe, but her hurt expression revealed a growing attachment. A high-stakes beating heart surgery followed, where Chloe's intervention prevented a nurse from administering a lethal drug combination, confirming a plot against Ethan. She urged him to join her in Switzerland, but he refused, knowing Blake's reach was weaker in the States. On his day off, Ethan visited Vance Industries, confronting Isabel about Blake. She revealed dirt on the Harrington family but needed more to act. Ethan provided evidence of their construction company's use of substandard concrete, risking catastrophic failure. Isabel, impressed, proposed a wedding and moving him into the master bedroom, hinting at a child. Ethan, silent, weighed her fiery love against Chloe's gentle affection. A storm hit Williamsport, and an overpass built by Harrington Construction collapsed under 2 trucks, the disaster going viral. Blake and Jenna arrived at the mansion, broken and desperate, begging for mercy. Blake admitted to framing Ethan, while Jenna revealed her pregnancy. Ethan suggested they leave the country, but Isabel, wary of foreign variables, refused. Blake lunged at her with a dagger, but a maid disarmed him, breaking his wrist. Bodyguards removed them, and Isabel, handing Ethan a glass of milk, teased him about not protecting her. The plot had derailed, Blake was in prison, Jenna pregnant, and Ethan hadn't left the country. The battle for Vance Industries loomed. Ethan revealed Victoria's true identity as Isabel's aunt and warned of her brother's ambitions. Isabel, confident, handled it while Ethan drove his recovering parents to the train station. Suspecting he was followed, he staged an accident, escaping as a Range Rover rammed his car, driven by a pregnant Jenna, who fainted upon seeing him alive. Isabel, returning from overseas, met him at the airport with Sophia, who introduced her boyfriend, Marcus Thorne, the con artist from the original story. Isabel, sensing Ethan's reaction, marked Marcus as a threat. Ethan laughed, realizing the endless game of being a billionaire's husband. The fun, he knew, was in the fight. As the weeks passed, Ethan and Isabel settled into a rhythm that defied the original script. Their marriage, born of necessity, began to blur into something real. Isabel's icy exterior melted in small moments, her laughter at his dry humor, her genuine concern for his mother, her quiet apologies for her family's antics. Ethan, too, found himself softening, admiring her ruthless intelligence and the vulnerability she hid from the world. Yet, he remained wary. Marcus Thorne's presence was a ticking time bomb, and Isabel's brother, lurking in the shadows, was poised to strike at Vance Industries. Ethan knew the game was far from over. One evening, as they sat in the mansion's library, Isabel broke the silence. "Ethan, I didn't expect this. You're not the man I thought I'd married." Her voice was soft, almost tender. He raised an eyebrow. "Disappointed?" She shook her head, a rare smile playing on her lips. "Impressed. You're a tiger, not a lapdog." He chuckled, leaning back in his chair. "And you're no ice queen. Just don't expect me to start cooking for you." Her laughter filled the room, a sound that felt like a victory. For the first time, Ethan wondered if they could rewrite the story entirely, not as contract spouses, but as partners in a world that demanded they fight for every moment of trust and love.